Hey guys, for those who don't know me, my name is Matt Cox. I am the CEO and founder of Cox Capital, and today I have the absolute pleasure of being here with Hannah Rankin. Hannah is the WBA and IBO World Champion, and thank you, Hannah, for your time. Such a pleasure to be here with you.
Always a pleasure to catch up.
Yes, really definitely, good. 100%. So today I'm just going to run through, we're going to talk a little bit about the past.
Yep.
A little bit about who you are, where you grew up, etc. A little bit of motivation and stuff like that. We'll have a little bit of fun in between, got a few questions and stuff like that, and then we'll talk about present, where you're at, and just finish off on what's next.
Yep.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Cool, let's go. Let's talk about yourself, Hannah. Where did you grow up? Where was home for you as a child, and what was life like for you as a child?
So I grew up on the west coast of Scotland, Loch Lomond, in the middle of nowhere on a sheep farm at the top of a 3-mile glen. So yeah, it was pretty remote. I had 2 younger sisters and that was pretty much the only people around. And yeah, very much a wild child, just playing on the farm, looking after the animals, and yeah, I went to a tiny primary school in Luss, called Luss Primary. I was the only one in my year for 4 years. Yeah. Wow. Only 27 kids in the whole school when I was there. And it's even less now, there's probably about 6 of them now. So it was a tiny village school. And yeah, no, I lived up there and it was great, you know, pretty idyllic childhood. Had the freedom just to run around and roam, do whatever I want. And yeah, very different to London.
Yes. So, what would you say from growing up to now is probably one of the most important things that you've learned through childhood to where you've come to today?
I think probably my experience as a child, obviously working on the farm with my parents. My parents were really great people and, like, you know, always instilled a great work ethic in me and my 2 sisters. You know, it's always been the animals have to get looked after first, and I've been doing that from such a young age, and it's always about getting the best out of yourself and doing the best for yourself. So I think being inspired by my parents has really helped me to get to where I am now, and it encouraged me to work hard, and when you work hard, good things happen. Yeah, and it's always been like that from when I was very young. So, you know, I've always been able to put the work in and dedicate my time and be disciplined about it as well, because if you're not disciplined, animals don't get fed. And you know, that's really important when you're younger, but it's been something that I'll be able to like take through my whole life to where I am now. Yeah,
yeah, it's part of the lessons learned from growing up. Yeah,
yeah,
love it.
Definitely.
I guess life was pretty different then, really, because you grew up on a farm, you got into classical music, and you're a classical musician. Do you want to talk about that part of your past?
Well, obviously when I was a kid, I wanted to be all different types of things. You know, as you know me, I'm really like hyperactive. So I wanted to be an explorer. You know, Indiana Jones is my favorite guy in the whole world. I wanted to be an explorer. I wanted to be a deep sea diver. You know, I wanted to even go into space. I wanted to do everything, you know. But as a kid, my mum, she was very musical. My granddad was a music teacher. So all 3 of us were encouraged to play musical instruments. And so music was a big part of my life, right from the word go. I was sitting on my mum's knee at the piano is one of my earliest memories. And singing with her. So yeah, music's always been there. And when I went to secondary school, I was playing the flute, so I was getting orchestral experience. I was really enjoying that. But then an old lady donated a bassoon to my school. Now, for those of you that don't know what a bassoon is, it's the biggest woodwind instrument. It looks a little bit like a didgeridoo and has a silver bit that comes out here, and you play it with a double reed. But yeah, it's a very quirky, very weird instrument, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, I want to play that. It's like nobody else is playing that. Everybody else is playing the flute, the violin, the recorder. I was like, I want that. So I got hold of the bassoon and I instantly fell in love with it. I knew it was the instrument for me straight away, and it's kind of what kick-started my career into music. I went on to join the Junior Academy at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. And then from then on, I went on to study a career in music. So I did my undergraduate at the Royal Conservatoire, and I graduated there with honours. And then I finally had auditions for my masters and came down to London to do my masters.
So it was music that brought you down to London in the first place?
Absolutely, yeah. So I came down to the Royal Academy of Music to come down here. But a funny story is that when I was about 10 years old, my grandparents thought we should probably go visit the city. Like the farm girls should probably have a day out and see the city. So they brought us down to London for a week of holiday. I'd never been so amazed in my whole life. I fell in love with London when I was 10. I thought, this is the coolest place ever. And I made a promise to my 10-year-old self that I'm coming back, I'm gonna live here one day. And then lo and behold, I come to eventually get to my master's stage, and I moved down here.
fulfilled your...
Yeah, I fulfilled the 10-year-old dream, which was pretty cool, and I love living in London now, and very happy that music brought me here in the first place.
What was your... So you come down from music, and obviously we first met in the boxing gym many years ago. What brought you into the boxing gym?
So before I came down here, I was finished my undergraduate in Glasgow, and I wanted to get fit again, and I've never really been interested in a normal gym. I find it really boring. I'm quite hyperactive, and a class is much better for me. And when I was younger, I used to do taekwondo when I was a kid. Yeah. So my mum got us involved in that, and I took to combat sports straight away. Yeah. So at the end of my undergraduate, I got back into Thai boxing in Glasgow at the Grip House for fitness. And then when I moved to London, I looked for somewhere that did combat sports. I ended up in gym box, and that's where I met yourself. It's where I met my coach, Noel Callan. So it kind of like, it took me there, and it got me involved in boxing because I got introduced to that as well. So it was kind of just in fitness classes, really. Yeah,
that's amazing. Well, I have to say, it's amazing. Seeing you first coming into the gym and where you've got to now and what you've achieved is amazing. So it's so nice to see.
Can't believe we started way back at the beginning. Yeah, I know, and when I didn't know my lefts and my rights in the blooming gym, and then now I'm sitting here with more world titles. But
with these, it's amazing. It's amazing to see. It's been great to see, and a pleasure to be sat here with you. I was going to say, let's start looking at, I guess, a little bit of mindset and what your thoughts on mindset are. What motivates you the most? What gives you that drive to want to succeed and want to be the best and become who you've become?
Well, I think that definitely goes back to my parents. You know, when I was a kid, my mum was a superhero. She had 3 daughters. We all did extracurricular activities. We all were on the farm. We all had to go to school, and we were allowed to take part in any sort of sport or music thing that we wanted to. But we were encouraged to, if we started something, we had to stick at it for 3 months. You know, we weren't allowed just to start it and give it up straight away. And my mum instilled that from a young age, that, you know, if you're going to work at something, you've got to work at it. Yeah. And when I moved to London to do my masters, my mum unfortunately got diagnosed with cancer, and 6 months later she passed away. And I relied heavily on the boxing side of my life then. I was a different family of people that didn't know my family, didn't know my personal story. Yeah. And it wasn't associated with my mum. And it was there for me in just such a really difficult time. And, you know, I could deal with the frustrations, and boxing was probably the one thing that actually I could make myself so tired doing for one split second, I could forget about just for a split second. So boxing was there for me in a really, really important time. So it's what motivates me and drives me to do the best I can in the sport, to achieve the most I can as well, because, you know, it was there for me a very difficult time, and I think a lot of people often find
you can go one way or the other, can't you? And you found a gym and you used that.
And a family and support, and that is so important. So that's what motivates me to work really hard. Also, equally, no one expected me to get to where I got to now. I mean, I started a professional sporting career in my early 20s. Everyone thought I was absolutely mental, like literally mental. So you want to be a professional musician, classical musician, and you want to be a professional boxer. Right, okay, you're crazy. Yeah. But, you know, I think also it helped that Noel is also super competitive as well, because when someone said to us that we couldn't do that, we were like, watch us. You know, and then when I started, I didn't start out to become world champion. I started to see how far I could go. And then when I won my world title the first time, that was like, okay, I exceeded my own expectations. Yeah. But then when I won these 2 the second time, that's down to hard work, discipline, dedication in the gym. And it's amazing to see how far I can go. And I want my sort of legacy to be that I've inspired other young girls, especially Scottish young girls, because there's not very many of us involved in boxing in Scotland, especially in the professional ranks. So I want to inspire next generation, and this kind of gives me that motivation, because
to carry on.
To see how far I could go, and then hopefully somebody else will be inspired to take that step and follow the career into the sport, because I've had some amazing adventures doing it. Yeah. And
I guess you've met some amazing people along the journey. And
met some amazing people, been to incredible places that I would never have thought I was going to go. Box live on DAZN, on Sky Sports. I've done commentary now with Sky Sports. So it's a whole life that I was never imagining was ever going to be my life. And I think that's what motivates me, It's what drives me to actually push harder in training.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you? I was going to say, if you were to give one kind of piece of advice to a young professional, a young athlete that's coming up through the ranks or maybe just starting off.
Yeah.
What piece of advice would you give them to?
I would say trust yourself, because you know best really for yourself about what you want to do and what you can achieve, and there are no limitations to what you can achieve. I think always look to be pushing yourself, to be bettering yourself, because you never know where you're going to end up. No, and I think if you have that mindset towards your goals, always just be that little bit better every time you come in the gym. You can go so far. Yeah. And then the other bit of advice is that it's so important to get a good team of people around you. Yeah. And it's not just a random bunch of people. Like, my team is a really select team that I've worked over 17 professional fights to create, and they all have my best interests at heart. They all want me to be successful at what I'm doing, but they're also all there to tell me I've got to work harder or push me at this point here. And they all believe that I can achieve the levels that I'm looking for. And that's what you need in a team. You need people that believe in your goals and want to help you get to them. To the goals. So you've got that full support there. Full support network. Following your dream and and also you can't do everything on your own. No. You need a team, and as much as we all like to be independent and like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna achieve it myself. Everyone needs help once in a while. It's not possible. You can get to a certain, even business, whatever it might be, you can get to a certain level, but you just can't do everything on your own. You need to, absolutely. You need the support to get to the next level and the next level. Yeah, they always say that quote, don't be the smartest person in your, your team, in your boardroom sort of thing. Like, if you're the boss, hire smart people around you. You want everybody on the same level. You want everybody with different skills. Different skills, so and different skills and different looks at things. And the way that one person looks at it won't be the same way that you're looking at it. And you'll suddenly see a new route and a new way of achieving something. Yeah. So that's why, for me, getting a good team, people that you trust and you know that they've got your back, that's the most important thing. Yeah, 100%. Love that. And also, you never know where the doors open, do you? Really, I guess like when you're channeling a direction and you're pushing for something, then something else will open, and another door will open. Like you said, you never knew you were going to go here. Yeah. And it just it's funny because I've always had that opinion that if you're going to, if something comes up, grab it with both hands and run with it. Yes. Try it. You never know where you're going to go. And a good example of that is when I started being a professional musician in my undergraduate. I think, like all other musicians who start in the undergraduate, we all want to get an orchestral job in an orchestra here in London or in the world somewhere and be a full-time orchestral musician. Everybody thinks that's what they want. But for me, by the time I got through my undergrad and into my masters, I realised I really enjoy chamber music, which is why I have a successful quintet that I play with, and I enjoy interactive concerts. So I do a lot of work in schools, I go to care homes, I work with the elderly. So you're still heavily involved in I'm still heavily involved in this, but it's like I actually realised I didn't want the full-time orchestral job, and I actually like these other aspects of my music career, and it's enabled me to have both careers at the same time. I'd be able to follow a professional boxing career and commentary, and then I've also been able to follow a performance career, but the way that I want to do it. Yeah, so you're doing it and enjoying it. Yeah. I was going to ask you, what do you do in your spare time, but I very much doubt you've got any, so I'm not sure whether that question's... Yeah, well, when I'm not in training camp, or sometimes actually when I am in camp, I love to cook. So the biggest irony ever being a fighter, because you can't eat anything, like you're on a strict diet all the time, but I actually love to bake. So often, like, the team will benefit because I'll be at home and I'll be like, right, got a real urge to bake something, so I'll bake cakes or I'll bake muffins or cupcakes or cookies or something, and they all get to eat them. Nice. Sausage rolls is usually a favourite, so I sometimes make them as well, but it's kind of like just downtime for me. What's Noel's favourite? Sausage rolls. Sausage rolls. All day, every day. But so for me that's kind of like my downtime, and I like to watch like cooking programs and things, and people think it's a bit sadistic because I can't eat any of the food, but I find that like the way that you actually create recipes and things like that, I find that actually quite therapeutic to watch. Yeah, so. I like to cook, but I don't like cleaning up. Ah, okay, fair enough. I must agree with that actually. Like, I don't like the washing up and everything. If I go in the kitchen, there'll be carnage all over the place. Well, probably one thing, but there you go. What about reflection? Do you ever reflect back on times or reflect back on your life and use that
as motivation moving forward?
I think it's really important, and often people forget to reflect on what they've achieved and where they've come from to where they are now, because it's a really important tool in actually being, being grateful for what you've actually been able to do in your life, and also like being able to express gratitude for something is actually so important, because it allows you to go, you know what, I've actually done a lot of stuff with the time that I've been here, and I've actually achieved a lot more than I ever thought I was going to do. And I think it's really particularly useful the days that we're having a bit down days, the days that you think that nothing's really working, can't get my head around this, I don't feel like I'm being successful. But then taking a little moment to reflect on all the things that you've done to this point now, it's good.
Pinch yourself sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. There's some crazy stuff, like I like to go back through my mind, and just like, when I fought Clarissa Shields, for example, I was flown to New York for 24 hours for a press conference. Like, that blew my brain. I had a whole apartment to myself. I didn't know what to do with it, you know, it's just, it was crazy. But I've done some amazing things, and I wouldn't change one little bit about my career or anything that I've done, like the highs, the lows, everything, because it's got me to where I am now, and it's made me who I am now. And I think that's why reflection is important, because you need to look back and see all of the lows as well as the highs.
I guess sometimes as well, people looking from the outside in, they don't get to see all the hard work you put in, all the time you put in. Like you said, there's not always highs. There are lows, and there are times that, you know, for everybody, that you're in a place that you've got to get yourself out, but they don't see that, and you don't see that side of it, and they don't see any of that. So
I think as well, especially in professional sport, it's very difficult, because you can have the high of winning, right? But then you can be right at the bottom of the pile again when you lose. When I lost my world title the first time, when I was fighting in Malta defending, and I lost my world title that night. It was a controversial fight. Some people saw it going the other way, but it was a really difficult time for me, because I lost financial sponsorship, I lost support from people that I thought were supporting me, but they weren't really. I learned a lot from that, and it was just so important. That's when my team became so important, and especially my coach. Like, you know, we started building again from the very, very bottom, and you know, it is very difficult you can't always remain at the top forever and ever and ever. I mean, Floyd Mayweather did it, like, you know, finishing something 50-0, whatever, 49-0. But not every fighter's like that, and there will be losses. And it's what you learn from them, what you take from that experience, and how you bounce back from it.
That shows your drive, because, you know, some people would quit after that and give up. Sorry. No, sorry. But some people would just quit, give up, but you didn't. You've come back, you've won the 2 titles, and then you're now chasing more, so that's great. What would you say was the one fight that impacted you the most, and why, and what did you learn from that fight? I've been in some fantastic fights over the years, wins and losses, that I've learned a lot from. I think my very first time fighting for a world title, when I fought Alicia Napoleon, it was my first time going to America. I'd never fought abroad. I'd never been to America before. So it was like a whole new experience. And I was fighting at a weight class that, you know, I don't fight in. It was super middle, but she was a small super middleweight. So I thought, you know what, I'll take the fight. And what I learned from that situation is about being in the public eye. You know, I built how to build a fan base in another country. And also, you know, I learned a lot from sharing 10 rounds with a world champion on that night. And it was, the funny thing was, for the night, we actually were meant to be on Fox Sports, but they turned the cameras off when it got to our fight. We were the only fight on the card, which was a world title fight, and they turned the cameras off because it was women's fighting and people didn't care. So it was dubbed the best fight you never saw by the media, because it was the best fight on the card. And I learned, that was my first sort of world title fight. It was my second 10-rounder fighting wise, and I just learned a lot from it. And also learned that I love being in America. I love fighting in front of American crowds, and I love to fight. I really learned that in that fight. I love fighting. I love my job.
And there's a whole other side to being a professional fighter, which involves the media, how to speak in front of the camera, how to interact with fans, how to interact with like the media in general on like social media platforms, as well as doing interviews. There's just a whole other world to it.
It's not just in the ring.
It's not just in the ring. And that fight was probably the fight where I learned the most about myself. And I learned, actually, this is where I belong. I belong under the lights, and I belong in front of the camera. And I feel, actually, all this hard work I'm doing is going to pay off one day.
Yeah.
And now I am here with
That's the
2
moment
world
that
titles.
changed you,
Yeah.
I guess.
100%.
Cool. Love it. Let's go on to some random questions. Mix it up in the middle of it.
Oh, these always make me nervous.
Sorry. So, random question number 1. Let's have a look at this. If you were going to have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be? Doesn't matter, dead or alive. 3 people, gonna go for dinner. Why?
Arturo Gatti, one of my favourite boxers of all time, ever.
Okay.
Definitely. He's someone who I aspire to be like. The reason being, like, he was never in a dull fight. Everybody always wanted to pay to come and see him. No matter who he was fighting, he was exciting. And, you know, he's always put a show on for his fans.
Yeah.
And he was in incredible fights all throughout his career. So yeah, Arturo Gatti.
Yeah.
Next one probably have to be Judi Dench, because I think she's amazing as an actor, as a woman. She's a very interesting person. I'd love to ask her about her life and her career and the decisions that she's made, what her favourite like acting roles were, just like, you know, just really pick her brains and stuff. And the last one would probably be Barack Obama. I think he's a legend. I really like the guy. I think he's got some interesting ways of thinking about things. I like the way his mindset is built. I'd love to pick his brains about that. Definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right, random number 2. What would your best tip be for making the world a better place?
Less politicians. And less people saying one thing, thinking another, then saying the other thing the next week. You know, I just can't bother with it.
I love it. What are you not very good at?
What am I not very good at? I am not very good at basketball. I'm just really bad at basketball. I'm not good on the court. I'm just not good at the whole dribbling thing, all of that. I'm not very good at it at all. No, it's a sport that's not for me.
Let's bring Noel into the next one. What's Noel's most annoying habit?
Noel's most annoying, he is totally OCD, organised central, as in like we'll go away on a training trip and he organises everything in like rows and puts it out, whereas like I open my suitcase and it's exploded.
Is it? I need you at home, Noel. Dear. You want a percentage? If you got shipped off to a desert island but you can only take one thing with you, what would it be?
Oh, that's a hard question. One thing.
Headphones.
Headphones. Yeah, for like, well, with music obviously. But,
just headphones.
Like a.
No, you're not allowed to.
Oh,
You've got to pretend they're in there.
Yeah.
Music's beating.
Yeah. Probably,
cool.
Some way of listening to music.
To keep your sanity.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you could play in a movie, what movie would it be and who would you play?
Is this who would I like to be or who is most likely to be me?
No. Who would you like to play? So what movie would you like to be in and what role would you like to play in that movie, if you were to pick one?
Now that is a hard question. Oh no, I know. I'd like to be Indiana Jones in any of those films.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Because he gets to do such cool things, and he's an adventurer, and that's all I ever wanted to do as a kid.
Yeah, love it. Right, we're at that time. Let's mix it up. We've got a little challenge, 5-second challenge.
5-second challenge.
5-second challenge. You know the 5
It's not any basketball or anything.
No.
Is it good? Okay, great.
5-second challenge. I'm absolutely rubbish at it.
Okay.
So I'm going to play with you and play the 5-second challenge, but I'm no good. So First, we'll get Lewis or somebody to give us a name. So what we'll do is the first thing will be name 3 countries beginning with, and then we'll get Lewis or somebody to give us a letter, and then we've got to name the 3 countries. So let's go. Right. So name 3 countries beginning with
A.
Azerbaijan, America, and Atlanta.
I haven't got time, Rob, but I'm pretty sure that was less than 5 seconds.
Man, that's
I'm not sure. Is Atlanta a country? I don't know.
yeah, we'll give you that. We'll give you that. No. No, go on for me then. Name 3 countries beginning with this is where I get none.
Yeah.
Go on. Come on, you just got to give us a letter, that was all. G. Germany. Greenland. No, I've lost that one. I don't know the last one. I thought I was on for Ghana. There you
Georgia.
go. Georgia.
It's always easier when you're doing someone else's.
All right, let's do name 3 animals beginning with
L. Lemur, leopard, lizard.
All right, name 3 animals beginning with L. I mean, beginning with, sorry, M. Mole. No, that's completely gone. No, I'll run out of time. See, I told you. All right, calm down. All right, that's the last one. Name 3 people, or no, sorry, name 3 names beginning with
B.
Billy, Brad, Ben.
Are you just stitching me up with this or what? I'm not very happy with this game, no. Go on then, let's do it. S. Stephen, Sarah, Susie.
Yeah. I mean, you got that. You definitely got that. Yes.
Have you done it? Yes. Right, well, that's enough of that. let's move on. Let's talk about the present. So the present, you're here, you've got your trainer, Noel, who's been with you a long time. Do you want to talk about your team and who you've got around you?
Yeah, so Noel's been with me, like I said, since I started at Gymbox, just doing fitness classes. So for me to go from fitness classes to white collar to world champion, we've been doing a fantastic journey together. So we've been professional together 6.5 years, but he's known me very much longer than that. Maybe the full time since I've been in London. Won't fool him, but you know. Yeah, so he's my coach. We've been together the whole way through, and it's great, you know, just constantly developing and growing together as a team.
Yeah.
Then I've got Richard Williams. He's a former IBO 154 world champion. He owns the Secret Boxing Gym down at London Bridge.
Nice.
And he's a fantastic addition to the team, very technical guy. And also he had a great, knockout ratio. He's, brought lots of different aspects into my training, so it's fantastic to work with him. My manager, Sam Kinnock, who I've been with for a very long time now. He's my Scottish angle in the team, and he's fantastic. Just brilliant. Pushing for me. He's always been about the fighter, that's what he is. All he cares about is the fighter. So it's brilliant to have him as my manager. He's got my best interests at heart. And the very last guy, Andrew Usher, who's a recent addition to my team. He does a lot of sports science with me. He's based at Abertay University, doing a PhD in quite a lot of groundbreaking research into performance for combat athletes. Yeah. So very proud to work with them, and it gets my conditioning to fantastic level. I'm always in the best shape of my life. Last but not least is my promoter, Dennis Hobson. So I've been working with Dennis now for 2 fights. I've got a few more fights with him as well. It's a great partnership. We've been working really hard together, and he's the reason that I've got these 2 belts sitting here. He gave me that opportunity to fight for 2 world titles and defend them in my home city. So yeah, fantastic to work with him as well.
Awesome. What does your current daily routine look like?
So when I'm in training camp, that's anywhere between 8 to 10 weeks for a world title training camp. I train Monday to Saturday, twice a day. And for example, on a Monday, I'll probably start with strength and conditioning. We're doing, lots of fun stuff in the gym. And then in the afternoon, we'll do boxing, pads and bags. But there's always 2 lots of sparring in a week. And then I also do sprints on a watt bike, which is the worst part of my week. And sprints at the altitude chamber for running as well. So.
I actually had a go on one of them bikes.
Grim, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, yeah. They had them, so at my daughter's school, they had this thing on, and I got to have a go on it. Yeah, no, I didn't like that.
This is not fun. It's really not fun.
No.
But definitely making me a better fighter, so it's good.
Cool. I know at the minute you've been over to Africa, which is amazing, and the stuff you're doing. Do you want to give us a bit of an overview and a brief about what's going on there?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, I was really lucky to actually fight in South Africa, in Cape Town, and I made some really good connections out there. People are lovely. I really enjoyed fighting there. It was brilliant, and I just really loved Cape Town. And back here in the UK, I've started working with Boxwise, which is a company that goes in. It sets up a 10-week program for young people to do boxing, and then through that we teach them things like teamwork, discipline, motivation.
Yeah.
And over those 10 weeks, they learn all these skills to help them in their at school, or when they finish school, when going on for higher education or into the workplace.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity for disadvantaged kids and to actually learn some new life skills.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to go and take this over to South Africa and take it global. First one over there was my baby, my project, and it was a huge success. We ran the project for a week in Cape Town at the PFC gym. There we're a great family-run gym, really great environment, and we had a kids group, a girls group, and a young ladies group.
Yeah.
So we had 2 different groups each day, and it just was so successful that, and it worked really, really well, that they've continued to run the project. So they're now running it full-time in South Africa, in Cape Town, and it's fantastic because they definitely struggle with gender-based violence over there. So for women to be feeling more empowered and getting confidence through boxing and what that can teach is amazing. And I'm so proud to see Boxwise there. And this next month they'll be going over to Uganda to start the project there. So very proud to be part of that. It's amazing.
What sort of age ranges are they out there?
So we have quite young. So the girls one, it will become a mixed class eventually, but the girls one is anywhere from kind of 8 up to maybe 14.
Yeah.
And then after that we have the older women as well. So it's just a great opportunity. We had one girl there, she's just graduated with her nursing degree. She's been in foster care for a long time, and we really supported her throughout the project. She's been coming to the course every week now.
Yeah.
And she's just graduated from a nursing degree, and so Boxwise are looking to see how they can help her career further over here in the UK, and to help her with her future work in the nursing world, which is just incredible.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Any plans to go out again?
Yeah, so hopefully after my next fight, I hope to be back out in South Africa to go and see all the women and the girls that we worked with, and to hopefully see them graduate.
Amazing.
Which would be incredible.
Yeah. Good, love it. Future plans. So let's have a look at what's in store for the future. What's the future for Hannah? What's coming up? What's going on?
So I will be defending my WBA and IBO world titles at the end of September against Terry Harper on Matchroom and DAZN. I'm really, really excited about this fight. It's going to be an exciting fight for fans. All British affair, Scotland versus England, the standards. But yeah, no, it's going to be an exciting fight for the fans, and it's going to be on a great card. And that's my next step, and I can't wait, really. I've just been working really hard in the gym, focused on working on new things with my team, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm getting to that point where I'm itching to get back out under the lights. So
yeah, so you're in your training camp now.
Yep.
You're getting prepped. You're getting ready.
Absolutely, yeah, and I will be going over to America to join Clarissa Shields in her training camp to get some sparring with her, taking some girls over with me for a couple of weeks of training in Florida, which will be amazing.
Awesome.
So, really looking forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to the fight.
Yeah, it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, all right. Let's thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, welcome.
So, for those of you that don't currently follow Hannah, you can follow Hannah on Instagram at team_ranking?
At team_ranking, yeah.
Team_ranking. So let's get some support for Hannah. Let's get you guys supporting Hannah for her next fight. and thank you for your time. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Shout out to the Churchill's Gym. Is that correct?
Churchill's Boxing Gym. Thank you very much.
Yeah, in London. So appreciate that. Thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Have an amazing day and look forward to seeing you all soon.